headline to your report here, the Belt and Road Initiative, a boom, a bust, or just a buzzword? How would you characterize it at the moment?
I think it depends on how you look at it. If you look at it from three aspects, so if you look at from trade, for example, trade has increased between China and Belt and Road markets. For example, last year, Chinese imports from Belt and Road market has increased by about 22%, against 16% for overall Chinese imports. So that means that there is a kind of boost in demand from China to Belt and Road markets. And if you look at it from an investment point of view, we have seen also an increase of investment from China to the Belt and Road market, and this has accelerated quite massively over the past 5 years. And when you look at the infrastructure spending, also we see some infrastructure growing and improving in many markets, for example in Thailand, but also markets like Laos, Cambodia. So I think that in the short term, there have been some boosts taken from the Belt and Road initiative.
There is boost, this infrastructure investment, as you're saying, though, coming at a pretty sensitive time. We have critics saying, going extreme and saying this is modern day colonialism, this is just a one-way road. Not to mention some of the piles of debt that some of these countries have to pile on. Are those concerns fair, do you think?
Yes, these are clear concerns. For example, if you look at the main challenges of the Belt and Road, and this is something that we mentioned, is there are three challenges basically. One is the financial sustainability of the Belt and Road, because if you look at the Chinese situation today, China has more limited financial resources than in the past, with a total debt which is over 250% of GDP, and you have also a lot of fragile states who cannot afford infrastructure spending now. We cannot repay their debt. For example, it is the case for Sri Lanka, Pakistan, or even Mongolia. And of course, this is a clear issue. The financial sustainability of the project in the longer term could create an issue for the global economy. And two of the big issues are the regulatory risk and the legal risk behind the Belt and Road, and also the political tension you can have between Belt and Road markets, but also between China and other superpowers who see this project as a threat.
Mahamoud, I'm just wondering whether we can expect a reset of the Belt and Road Initiative when Xi Jinping meets with other leaders later this year, given the pushback that we've been seeing.
I think what we can see is a kind of adjustment of some of the initiative, because do not forget that the Belt and Road started as a vision in the beginning. It was not a very structured strategy, and it is clearly improving and it is clearly changing. So the Belt and Road will probably be adjusted a bit to make it more appealing for other markets, but clearly we will have some adjustment going forwards for the Belt and Road initiative.
So in the longer term, how do you see China benefiting from this Belt and Road Initiative? I mean, there are issues about overcapacity, wanting to internationalize the renminbi. Will all that be achieved?
For us, we expect the Belt and Road to bring about $170 billion of additional export this year. And out of this 117 billion, let's say that around 50 billion will be additional export for China. So we will have more demand for Chinese goods. And this will, of course, help to reduce a bit of overcapacity, because we have seen that the Belt and Road initiative have been a big demand driver for sectors like steel or mining or coal. So this will clearly help China to address this issue, and also be a way for China to upgrade its own economy, because it will be a way for China to distribute its product and to have new clients outside of the big major economies such as the US or Eurozone.
The U.S., Mahamoud, has been pretty critical about this whole mission from Xi Jinping, but I guess they failed to kind of deliver an alternative. Do you see any alternatives out there to finance all the infrastructure needs in the area?
I think all big superpowers all major superpowers of China see this project as a threat, because it is a way for China to increase economic influence. So this is the reason why you have a lot of, let's say, defiance from major superpowers. But today there is no big alternative to that. So China is the one pushing for more financing for these markets. For example, if you take the Sri Lanka or Pakistan, for example, China is financing them a lot. So this is clearly a way for them to get financing, while the other markets, the major superpowers, do not really give them access to financing. So it's clearly an alternative for them to find a source of growth.
You say there's no proper alternative, but when you take a look at Southeast Asia, Japan has been pretty much the key, I guess, financier of infrastructure projects in this part of the world. Do you see China taking over Japan's role going forward?
No, I don't think that these solutions are excluding themselves. I don't think that I think there is possibility to use all of these solutions. When I say proper solution, I was talking about countries that are heavily indebted like Sri Lanka or Pakistan, who struggle to have access to financing. But of course, Southeast the Asian markets, if you take markets like Thailand or even Malaysia or Indonesia, yes, of course, you can have some support from other countries like the Eurozone, but also Japan. So I do believe that this market can benefit from the support from China, but also from other major superpowers. I don't think that it is it should be exclusively Chinese driven. And if you look at the Belt and Road, China also encourages other markets to support the Belt and Road initiative. It's not just China for China, I would say.
It does seem like countries like Singapore have jumped onto the bandwagon. It's tying up with China to perhaps offer services in terms of its Belt and Road initiative. What do you make of that? And do you see other countries coming on board as well?
I think for the Belt and Road initiative, it is still complicated for now to see how all of these countries will benefit from each other. Today, what we see is that China is clearly trying to export its product to all of these markets. For example, as I said, to reduce its overcapacity, but also to support its economic upgrading. You have other markets that see this Belt and Road as a key driver for growth, because if you assume that if we make the assumption that the Belt and Road initiative add further growth to global economy, this will support demand, and it will be better to be part of this initiative. This is the reason why I think that markets like Singapore take the bandwagon to benefit from the Belt and Road through demand by providing services that could benefit to the Belt and Road countries. So for me, the Belt and Road initiative is still in progress. So for now, there is not clear competitive advantage between markets. All of them, they are trying to find their own competitive advantage. Emerging markets, the most emerging market of the Belt and Road are trying to find a demand in China, and you have other markets like Singapore who are trying to benefit from the demand momentum that is being created by this project.